Video shows a man, her significant other, clinging onto the hood of a car. And as you can see, my fingers barely fit underneath the hood. And this is how it appears the man was trying to keep himself from falling off the car. There are over 70 acres burning. I want to step out of the way real quick because you can actually see this helicopter coming across here. So this helicopter has actually been stopping at individual lakes on the properties around this area, filling up with water before flying back over that area that is on fire. This is one of the trees investigators say a car hit. You can see the bark that's missing and even a bit of glass down here. And if we come across this sidewalk here, right over in this area, there are more car parts, pieces just like this one, and all this burnt area. This is charred grass. I'm actually walking along this seawall. It's about an 80-foot section, and he says it eroded onto the beach in 2022 during the hurricane. You can kind of see the plane along that canal there. That's about, I would guess, about a half a mile to a mile from the homes. It wasn't very far. Witnesses say the skies were blue out here, but then the next thing they know, they heard that lightning strike. And officials with the Volusia County Beach Safety say that the man, a 29-year-old, was actually in ankle-deep water, and a lifeguard rushed over and began performing CPR. We're told 21 dogs were dropped off here more than a month ago, and these runs here, each one of these runs is one of those dogs. Saturday, they're going to play the winners of Arkansas or Texas Tech, so not quite sure who the matchup's going to be, but this Saturday, the Gators are going to be in the Elite Eight with a big game ahead of them. Here along Donnelly Street, these barriers are actually stopping people from driving any further because about 100 to 200 feet that way, the road is simply gone. And as that road was collapsing, a woman was stuck in her car right on the edge until her boss trudged through rushing water to save her.
You're sitting there, you're just counting minutes, and it's like, you just want the road to hold.
If we slow the video down, you can see just how close Christina Cortez's car is from the edge of a collapsing road.
At that point, it was like adrenaline rush kick in. Save her now.
And Cortez's boss, George Halpern, says he did what he had to do to save her.
I started yelling, Christina, get out of the car, get out of the car. She couldn't hear me or she was just in shock. So I decided, okay, I have to get to the car now. That's when it started getting scarier and sketchier, and I'm just hanging onto these like concrete barriers, walking slowly.
The two were able to make it to safety before Donnelly Street fully collapsed into a ravine, swallowing Cortez's car.
I think that she was in such shock whenever I showed up that she would have sat there and waited for help, and I don't know what kind of time frame she had left.
Cortez says she was heading home from working at Pizza More when she noticed the road in front of her and next to her had washed away.
That was a lane. Like, that's a whole lane that I literally drove to get to work at like 3 o'clock that afternoon.
Halpern says he received a text from Cortez with a pin of her location and that she needed help.
She sent the pin at 10:16. At 10:21, I was there. I think her being able to throw me a pin is why I was able to get there, because I would have just been aimlessly going up and down side roads looking for her until, you know, her car went into the abyss.
Less than 24 hours later, the danger the two faced is evident, as Sky Fox drone video shows slabs of pavement and chunks of concrete had crumbled during Sunday night's storm.
It set in, and like I stayed up till 4. My head was hurting. I've been thinking about it all day.
My mom's calling him an angel right now. I'm just really grateful that I had people that were close and would come get me.
Throughout Lake County, there are other roads that have washed away. So if you see barriers like these or road closure signs, do not drive around them because the road could be gone, just as it is here at Donnelly Street. Reporting in Lake County, Chancelor Winn, FOX35 News. A traffic stop is what led up to Jonathan Rinderneck being placed into cuffs and put behind bars. Police say he had multiple family members living throughout the area, and Rinderneck had been couch surfing from home to home, most recently living right here in this neighborhood. In fact, neighbors say they saw a large police presence at this clubhouse right around the time of his arrest. So we went into that neighborhood and began talking to people who live just homes away from where he had been staying. Now, all the neighbors telling us the same thing. The family is quiet. They stay to themselves. Some even say the family doesn't wave or even acknowledge other neighbors. So right now, it's unclear how long Rinderneck had been living and staying in this neighborhood. But one neighbor, Chris Anderson, says he's surprised that the man accused of starting one of the deadliest fires in California history was living just feet away from him. Anderson says he doesn't recall seeing Rinderneck, but he does remember seeing a large amount of police right at the front of his neighborhood around the time he was arrested.
They seem to have West Melbourne Police and ATF, and I think possibly the FBI were out, and very, very heavy police presence, and they had armored personnel. Like to me, it looked like they were expecting a shootout or something.
Now, Rinderknecht was arrested by West Melbourne police, but ATF, that agency, is leading the investigation. Rinderknecht is scheduled to appear in court tomorrow morning and will then be transferred back to California. Reporting live in West Melbourne, Chancelor Winn, Fox 11 News.
Yeah, Chancellor, if you were listening to the press conference today, which I'm sure you were, that happened right here in Los Angeles, the acting attorney, U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley, was saying that more serious charges could be filed because 12 people lost their lives in the Palisades fire.
That's exactly correct. That's what was discussed in that press conference, and that was one thing that stood out to many of the neighbors we spoke to. They say that fire was tragic, but it's the thousands of homes and the people who lost their lives. One neighbor even saying he was shocked that he was only looking at around 20 years or so, expecting much more because of, again, those 12 people who were killed.
And do we know, I mean, obviously last we knew here he was an Uber driver. Was he employed there in Melbourne, Florida? Do we know?
Well, that's what's interesting. Neighbors say they don't even remember seeing him. One neighbor, I showed him a picture, and I asked him specifically, have you seen this man? And he said, I'm sure I have, but I don't remember seeing him. That family never comes out the home. We'll be in our backyard grilling out. They won't say hi. We'll wave at them. They'll ignore us. So right now, it's unclear how long he had been living in West Melbourne or what his employment was or how he was sustaining any type of lifestyle besides couch surfing from home to home, like police say.
All right, Chancellor Winn, live for us in Melbourne, Florida tonight. Thank you so much.
Police, drop it! Drop your weapon! Hey, drop the knife! Drop the knife! I'm gonna tase you! Drop the knife!
A woman being held hostage by a man with a knife is the first hands-on training exercise Orlando police put Fox 35 through.
The very first time an officer goes to a domestic violence or goes to a robbery or a theft or a battery, that is not the first time they're seeing that problem. They should have encountered those problems at least in training at least one time.
Hey, drop the bat, sir! Drop the bat!
A virtual reality simulator puts officers in a situation where they're responding to a domestic violence call, and split-second decisions must be made to save a life.
Deploy the taser. Drop the weapon!
It's not working.
You showed up, you met with the victim, you approached him, you gave him commands, he ran from you, you entered his home, you gave him commands again, you tased him twice, and then you shot him. Why? To save that person's life.
Give some sort of command.
De-escalation techniques and how officers determine the necessary level of force to use. This training provides officers with hands-on exposure.
So for this scenario, you're responding to a trespass at a grocery store.
Trespass at a grocery store.
Meet with the store manager.
Meet with the store manager.
Hey, yeah, we're here to help, man. What's up? Sir, drop the gun.
It's almost like a taste test, right? They get to go in there, see what it's like to respond to a high-stress incident where we can repeat it and do it a couple times without fear of being injured.
Put your hands behind your back.
Now, officers with the Orlando Police Department go through these types of training exercises routinely to ensure they're prepared for their daily response calls. Reporting in Orlando, Chancelor Winn, Fox 35 News. We went to the office. It looked real. In fact, he turns out not a dentist, not a doctor, and the Florida Department of Health says he's simply a licensed cosmetologist. So he can perform pedicures, manicures, and even wash people's hair. But deputies here in Orange County arrested him because investigators say he's been posing as a dentist and been performing procedures for years.
It's not just taking care of teeth. You're taking care of the individual.
Dr. Daraj Ravi Lal is a legitimate dentist. I say legitimate because the Florida Department of Health says this man, Carlos Rendon, isn't a dentist, but he's been posing as one for around 4 years.
Then you worry about the patients they're taking care of, or, well, the people they're taking care of. You know, if they're treating them, they're not really patients, right? When I treat them, they're patients. So, you know, you're worried about their safety.
Investigators say Carlos and his sister, Your Lady Rendon, ran the fake dental practice out of this office building in Orlando, taking cash payments of thousands of dollars in exchange for dental work. One victim reportedly told investigators Carlos shaved her teeth down and placed 20 veneers in her mouth that were so big, she told investigators she wanted to cry because of how they looked. On top of that, investigators say the woman had to receive antibiotics because of a gum infection.
If you get an infection in your gums, it can lead to problems with your heart It can lead to problems with the kidneys. It can lead to diabetes. So you can get many problems from just infection in your gums.
Dr. Law has been a dentist at Lake Mary Dental for around 25 years, and he says the procedures like the ones Carlos is accused of doing are serious.
The girl ended up getting infections. She could have tooth loss. She can have many things go wrong that a typical person would not even think about treating.
So if you're in need of dental work, Dr. Law says to check references and sometimes even get a second opinion.
Most dental offices that you will go to, your first visit, usually either zero charge or very, very minimal amount. And then you can really see what you need or what you don't need. And if you don't, feel comfortable, go get a second opinion.
Carlos and his sister, Your Lady, are facing multiple felony charges, including practicing dentistry without a license. Reporting live in Orlando, Chancelor Winn, Fox 35 News. A nightmare on the water for two 16-year-old girls. They were actually trapped out in the water for over 16 hours. And the three men who found them, they tell me that the waters have warmed up a bit, but last night and early this morning, they say the temperatures were frigid. And luckily, those two girls were carried to safety.
They were holding on to each other, shivering. Their feet and hands were pretty cut up.
Cold, cut, and dehydrated is how Will Pauling and his two friends say they found two 16-year-old girls stranded on top of a bed of sharp oysters.
Like walking on razor blades, you can look at an oyster wrong and you probably get cut.
The girls were coming home no matter what.
For over 16 hours, the girls drifted on one single paddleboard throughout the night down to Porpoise Point, about 14 miles from where they left Cedar Key.
Just looked over and seen this speck on the shore and I was like, I think that's a paddleboard. And then as soon as I turned the boat, they just started flailing.
The girls survived throughout the night as the Coast Guard, Florida Fish and Wildlife, Levy County Sheriff's deputies, and countless volunteers scoured the waters.
The girls even said that they had a few helicopters fly over with spotlights and they got missed by just a few feet with those spotlights throughout the night.
Thanks to volunteers like these three fathers, the Levy County Sheriff's Office says the two girls are going to be just fine.
They weathered the storm on probably the most ill-equipped watercraft out there last night. So yeah, that strong girls, their resilience is amazing.
Now, the Levy County Sheriff's Office wants to remind people, if you have any plans on being out on the water, whether you're boating, kayaking, or paddleboarding, to bring a cell phone with you in case you need to call first responders if you do encounter an emergency. Reporting in Levy County, Chancelor Winn, Fox 35 News.